Hello and welcome, Mr. Lyons, back at it again with another banger. And take a look at my page here. Pause the video if you need to. I calculated my slope with this best line of fit. I use 1838 and 2524 because they were literally on my line of best fit here, right? Calculated my slope, change in y over the change in x. Take a look at my work. Make sure your work looks just about similar to mine. If you chose other 2 points, make sure it's close, at least close to -2, right? You could have used other points here. Make sure your slope is at least close to -2. I decided to use the points that directly fell on my line of best fit. Now, I love calculating slope because the slope tells us what this graph means, right? Let's talk about this question. Before we form our equation, interpret the meaning of the slope in the context of the situation. Well, we know the situation, right? What does this mean? When every one of what goes up, this goes down by 2. What does this mean? What do you think this means? What do you think you should write here in words? What is going down by 2? What's increasing by 1, right? Yeah, for every $2, the weekly insurance goes down. Weekly cost, your age is going up by 1. So for every year you get older, your weekly cost is going down for insurance, right? You can circle that and draw an arrow because that's answering this question in the context. All you need to do is literally write what the x-axis means, right? Change in x, what the y-axis means, right? Change in y. -2 weekly cost of insurance. So the insurance goes down by 2 for every year you get older, right? And that's usually because the older you are, insurance companies think you're getting more experience and you're going to be in less accidents. But the younger you are, you're more prone to get into accidents, right? So now let's talk about our equation, right? What equation? When we're talking about lines, what do our equations look like? I'll give you a hint. Y equals what? Mx plus b, absolutely. So I have my slope, I have points, I can go ahead and calculate my y-intercept now. So I'm going to start with my equation. Let's use 38 and 18. Let's use 38 and 18. Y is going to be 38 equals my m is going to be -2. Again, if you use a different points, make sure yours is at least close to -2, right? Make sure you didn't use this, what do you call this, outlier right here. Make sure you didn't use that. It's kind of farthest away from the graph, right? And then my x is going to be 18. Pause the video and try to do this on your own if you can, right? 38 equals 2 times 18 is going to give me -36 plus b, right? Add 36 on both sides. We found our y-intercept here, right? Y equals -2x plus 74. And the y-intercept basically means you have a y, but x always has to be what? Where our line hits the y-axis, x always has to be, that's right, 0 here. But let's talk about what that means before we get on some work on our own, right? We know what the slope means, right? For every year you increase in your age, your insurance goes down by 2. And we kind of talked about why that is. But let's talk about what the y-intercept means here real quick, right? We got about $74, meaning what? Let's write the y-intercept. We said 0, 74. What does 0 represent again? What does x represent again? X represents age. What does y represent again? The cost. Does this y-intercept make sense? No, not really. Why doesn't this make sense when we're talking about car insurance? Because when you're 0 years old, we can't be charging you any money. You didn't even have your first birthday yet, right? So in some situations, when you're dealing with bivariate data and scatter plots, you have to think logically. If does your y-intercept make sense? You can't say the y-intercept in this situation means when you're 0 years old, a car insurance is going to be $74. No, what do you think this really means, right? This really means that as soon as you can drive, right? What's that I word? The initial cost will be about $74 here, right? And you have to use your logic when you're dealing with y-intercepts on certain scatter plots, because you can't be charged $74 when you're 0 years old. But as soon as you can start driving, they can start charging you money, right? Excuse me. As soon as you start driving, you can start it'll start costing you money, right? And the only reason we got 74 here was because we actually plugged it in. This actual graph, if you said the y-intercept was 40, I'd believe you too. That's also a very valid answer because of the way the scatter plot looks here, right? We solved with using about $74, but looking at this actual scatter plot for this specific insurance company, it looks like they charge $40 for as soon as you're able to start driving, okay? So it's important that we're not only using math, but we're also using our logic to see if that makes sense depending on the certain situation, okay? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Talked about bivariate data. Talked about what that looks like: positive, negative, no association. Is it linear? Is it not linear? All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today, and I will see you later.